So do humans still matter in North America? So that's a question I've been asking myself for quite some time now. Not least because of all the announcements and practices of corporate America increasingly make it sound as though employees are at best a nuisance to be managed and at worst a cost to be eliminated. So from Amazon that is openly exploring even more automated operations, at times even flirting with the idea of near employee-less systems, to companies that are jumping the gun on still largely unproven AI-driven efficiency gains and laying off employees left and right and center, to quieter, less headline-grabbing practices that are arguably more insidious. So I was chatting very recently with an employee of Shoppers Drug Mart. If you're not in Canada, Shoppers Drug Mart is the Canadian cousin of Walgreens, to give you an idea. Companies are not affiliated, but same business model. And that lady was explaining me that the staff in the cosmetic section were actually almost entirely kept in part-time schedules. And that was done to maximize corporate flexibility, at the same time avoid giving them benefits. She'd love to work full-time, but that option simply does not exist. And obviously, we all know the standard model now of on-demand services, food delivery, ride-hailing, where the workers are classified as independent contractors, despite the fact that they are actually dependent on mainly one or two platforms that dictates pricing, access, and term. So when I look at that, it really feels to me that we as a society have elegantly managed to reinvent serfdom with an app, you know. And so the part for me that truly doesn't add up, not just the human or ethical standpoint, even if that should be enough, but from a purely economic perspective. When we're doing that, meaning humans becoming redundant, we are simultaneously weakening income stability, increasing, obviously, psychological stress for these people, and also fragmenting identity and purpose. And then we're wondering, why the consumption, global economy feel fragile. But again, who exactly is supposed to buy the products and services if people are unemployed or underemployed? Because even the most extravagant billionaire hosting lavish foam parties on mega yacht, they do not contribute to the economy in the same way as thousands of households with stable incomes, predictable spending, long-term confidence. Consumption is not driven by this type of spectacle. It's driven by reality and security. And Henry Ford understood that a century ago. Pay your workers enough so they can buy the cars they build. But today we seem really determined to test the opposite hypothesis. And so one of the questions I have is, what are we optimizing for? As a society, what are we exactly trying to achieve here? Is it an extreme version of aristocracy? Think Louis XIV or Marie Antoinette, with a very concentrated elite and a vast, economically precarious underclass. Is the end game really a world where the top of the food chain perfects living in a bunker to protect themselves from the very instability they helped create? So yes, I understand it sounds very dystopian, and yet when you follow the incentives, it's not entirely irrational to think we're going to get to that level. And we could rationalize this idea of, okay, make humans redundant and replace it with technology, or give them the minimum income and minimum benefits possible, if we were facing a dramatic collapse in population. But we are not. I mean, the total population at 2026 is 8.3 billion people, 8.3. The median age is 31.1 years, median. So 50% of this 8.3 billion is below 31, and the other half is above. So, people who still have 50, 60 years to live, and the population is still growing. The fertility rate is 2.2. The average growth rate is around 1%. If you look at the most populous country, India, 1.5 billion, China, 1.4 billion, United States, 350 million, Indonesia, 290, Pakistan, 260. So this is not a world that is running out of humans, If anything, it is a world that still needs to productively and meaningfully engage them. So the idea that you can simply optimize away labor and replace it with a combination of automation and some version of universal income, that really raises a deeper question. Are we creating efficiency, or are we creating a new class of economically redundant, socially disaffected humans? Because that's not the same outcome. So, I mean, what do I do in my small way? Nothing revolutionary. I always believe bottom up is the way to go versus big ideas pushed from the top down. But I do it very intentionally. First, I shop, I eat, I drink, I invest locally. And I mean, not as a slogan, but as a deliberate capital allocation strategy. I go in shops, I see people, I make sure that my dollars go where people are employed. I also tip generously because, again, until the system change, well, the individuals still live in the system we have, so it's important to make sure they can sustain. I avoid as much as I can self-checkout and all this frictionless everything aka online shopping. Yes, it is slower. Yes, sometimes it is more expensive. But again, I am convinced that efficiency is not a neutral concept. If you're only buying everything online, if you're only going to self-checkout, you're destroying jobs. That's the reality. And at the end of the day, that will come back to you, even if you're not doing it out of your good heart. So try to make sure you're dealing with real people. But also, personally, I value human interaction. So, I make eye contact, I am polite, I always have a little word, I acknowledge the people who help me. And this is not trivial. And in many ways, it's really the last mile of humanity in a system that is really optimizing everything away. So the real question, again, it is not about being anti-technology, anti-progress. Of course not. I've worked in technology for decades. So, I'm absolutely not against technology, but it's really about this fundamental question. What is the role of humans in the economy we are building? Because if the answer is optional, except as consumers, when it is convenient, well, we are not redesigning work, we are redesigning society. So again, I don't have a definitive answer, but I do have this growing conviction that if we don't actively choose to keep humans at the center of our economic systems, the system will very efficiently optimize them out. And what happens next? So anyway, I'm very curious to hear your thoughts. What do you see? What do you think we should do? And once again, thank you so much for being here. My name is Peggy van der Plas, and I hope you like this episode. If you like it, please don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'm looking forward to seeing you next week. Thank you very much.